Welcome to the Crush the Rush podcast, specifically the Fill Your Funnel series, where we're obsessed with email marketing and helping you turn leads into loyal clients. So notice that I said we, because typically on Fridays, this episode is just me, but because it's the end of the year and it's a crazy busy season, I thought it would be fun to change things up and bring in my friend, Alison Hardy, who is an email funnel expert. So we're both working moms. We understand the hustle of the season and everything that's going on, and believe that you can build a thriving business without crazy TikTok dances and on a schedule that works for you. So this October, we are going to be your virtual coffee shop buddies. We're going to be sharing growth strategies, day in the life hacks, and proven email marketing tactics every single Friday. So go ahead and mark your calendar, because you're going to get actionable steps, real results every single episode. Each episode features one key action step. You're going to complete it. You're going to share it on social with us and watch your funnel flourish. Just tag us at the Holly Marie Haynes and at Allison_Hardy_. By the end of the series, you're going to have the skills and the confidence to crush your 2025 goals. Plus, we've got a networking event on October 30th to celebrate your success. So let's fill your funnel, boost your business, and conquer the end of year rush together. Make sure you subscribe for the weekly episodes and check the show notes, because we want you to RSVP to the networking event. And we've got some bonus resources from both Allison and I waiting for you. So let's get to it.
Welcome back to episode 3 in the Fill Your Funnel series. I'm Alison Hardy. I'm here with Holly Haynes. Hello, Holly.
Hello. I'm excited to be back.
Yes, I'm especially excited for this episode because we're going to be talking about systems, and I feel like you're really good at systems. So I'm excited to pick your brain and dig into this. So, big picture, what is a system to you, Holly?
That is a great question. I think there's two types of systems. I think there's like technical systems, which I think is where most people's brains go to. So funnels and automations and, Zapier and tags and like all the things. But then I also think there's like systems of planning and activities that you do. And I think those are the ones that most people don't think about. So I think there's like two types.
I so agree. Okay, so what is a system that like you can't live without?
Yeah, so this one is actually, I'm going to go with the second example, but I'll give you a technical one too. So we do quarterly planning sessions. I have done quarterly planning like my entire life. I don't know why. I love planning. Like it is like just ingrained in my soul. Like it's just fun for me. It's like stress relief. And I know a lot of people listening are like, oh my God, no. But what I do recommend is once a quarter, like do it right now, put on your calendar at least 1 hour. I would probably say 2, where you are just like slowing down to speed up. That is like the simple version. The little bit more complicated version is, it started out where I would just do this. Now I bring in my ops manager. She's local, and my husband, and we actually sit down for like 3 or 4 hours together with a whiteboard, and we go through all the things. And sometimes they're really fun sessions. Sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? But what it does is it allows us to like take out the day to day and really think about like, where am I going and what's working? So the first thing we do is what I call a look back analysis. And it's like really simple questions. We have them inside our planner, and I talk about them on our podcast a lot, but it's like, what's working right now? Like what feels really good? What's not working? Because guess what? The things that aren't working, let's just stop doing it. Like you don't have to keep doing it because, Sally said that you should do this for 6 months, right? Like you don't. And so really just looking at that, and then looking at the data, which we talked a little bit in episode 1, but like, what were the most popular emails? Where did the revenue actually come in from this month? Like those are things that you want to pay attention to, and just think about like, should we do it again? Should we keep doing it? And so typically those questions will then set like what the next steps are. And then sort of on my own, I like to just do some intention setting. So, it's October when this airs. Like I would really think about, we just asked you guys in the last episode, like, what do you want the rest of the year to look like? So what do you want to actually accomplish in October and November and December? Because then you can like work backwards and your content and your emails and all of that can match. And then last but not least, I just do this like monthly messaging reset. So I have this Google Doc. It's not fancy. And it's like, what are my clients experiencing right now? What are their challenges? So in October, I don't know, for us specifically, it's my girl's birthday. Every single person in our family has a fall birthday, and it's so overwhelming. October is also like in Ohio, basically like Christmas because we have like crap weather most of the year. And then October is amazing. And so I personally feel pressure to like do all the things fall. Like, so our personal schedule is just like off the chart. So I try to think about like, well, what are my clients experiencing? Are they maybe feeling the pressure about the holidays coming or kids' activities or whatever that is? And I will actually write it out so that when I sit down to write content later on, I can look at this messaging and be like, this is what we have to really talk about. Like, what are their challenges? And then just for fun, I don't know if you're into like horoscopes and human design and all the thing. I have a set of cards and I pull 3 cards. And the 3 cards are what are you bringing in? What are you taking with you? And what are you letting go of? Now, if you're not into that, the cards have journal prompts. And so then I'll just like journal a little bit on what those things are. And so I feel like in like a couple hours, I have a really good idea, both from like a analytical and a like factual perspective and sort of like a woo strategy perspective of like, okay, this is our plan for this month or for this season, which has really been a game changer because I don't feel like I'm just like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like I actually have intention behind what I'm doing.
Yeah. So my quarterly like planning is not as robust as yours. So I was like, I need to do this. I need to bring this into it. But I think that I think the main thing here is that when you have a plan, you feel like you're more in control of your circumstances. I don't know if that's like the good word for it, but like you're driving the ship. You have a plan, you know where you're going, you know how you're going to get there. And so doing the work to get to the goal is a lot easier than if you're just like willy-nilly throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it sticks.
Yeah. So let's talk about what you do. So we talked about planning, but what are some of the things that like save you time during this season?
Yeah. So things that save me time during this season are things like automated lead generation. So I lean really hard into Facebook ads. I run not a lot of ads compared to some people, but I'm running ads pretty much all the time. And one of the reasons why I like ads is because they're hands off. So like if I get sick, which happens a lot, if my kids get sick, like today, my kid is homesick. If life pops up, I know and I have that security that my business is churning and burning in the background. Like yesterday, I was feeling so drained. I was tired. My kids are like waking up weirdly in the middle of the night and like we're all exhausted. And like at what was it, 8:00 in the morning, a little text popped up and was like, oh, you just sold a digital product. And I was like, yes, like this, like I'm feeling like junk today, but like here we are selling things. So like I run ads for lead magnets and I also run ads for those like smaller digital products, like direct to buy ads. And it's been a game changer for my business because, and like for my like anxiety, because like I know that those systems are running in the background. And that's been really helpful. I also have a non-negotiable. I run a webinar every 2 to 3 weeks. I have a non-negotiable this year that I have to have 100 people signed up for that masterclass every single time I run it. And so if I look at the numbers, you know, a week out and I'm like, oh, we're only at 20 people, I then ask myself the question, okay, what do I need to do? How can I get those 80 more people in? Is it that I put a PS in my emails? Is it that I reach out to our affiliates? Is it that maybe I run ads directly to the webinar? I don't love doing that because they're more expensive, but like, is that what's going to get the job done? Because I know when I get people on that masterclass, it converts at a certain number and I will see X amount of sales come in as a result of that work. So it's like knowing, for me also, it's like knowing the end result, knowing the results that I can expect to get, and then doing the work so that those results are able to happen.
Yeah. And I think as I'm listening, so one of the things that we were actually talking about in my community think it was yesterday or the day before, is if you don't have a webinar, like perhaps the goal is to just host some sort of live event once a month or once a quarter, because that is what is working right now, is actually like face to camera. You hear somebody's voice, you see what they're doing, you can ask questions live. And from like a time management perspective, like just put it on the calendar. It's literally 1 hour, right? And then you can work backwards and say, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on this month. In October, I'm going to host I don't know, we've done like a networking event, which is like no planning whatsoever. You like mix people up in the rooms, you ask strategic questions, everyone walks away knowing somebody really amazing, and it's easy. Like, what is something that you can do to just like put it on the calendar and then follow through with, what you did set out to do? So I think that's just a really great example. Anything else that you're doing that is really helping you? I don't know. I think during the holidays, which feels weird because it's, October and it's like, is it really even the holidays? But your time is like so much less. Like you think that you have all this time, but then you're adding in all these other things that you also need to accomplish. So anything else that's worked for you?
Yeah, hosting bundles in the holiday time has been really helpful for me. I think that a lot of people get sold to fatigue. I forget like what the proper term there is of that, but like they're tired of being sold to all the time. So I actually think when something comes in and it's like, I want to provide you value, then it's not going to cost you a penny. I think it's actually really refreshing. I've had a lot of success hosting collaborations like that at the end of the year. And I think, again, it's just because it's different and a bit unexpected and coming from a place of service, which again, going back to like your live event idea, I think that's kind of reiterates that. Like, I want to actually help you. I want to show up and like give you these things, and like this will help you. So that's like the other thing that I've really found a lot of success with.
Yeah, I think that's also like just piggybacking on that, because one of the things that I obviously do is podcasting and like talking in front of other groups and talking on other podcasts, but like you don't have to wait until January to start your like podcasting goal or pitching goal or networking goal. Because guess what? Most people are already planning for next year now. So instead, like, kind of the homework that we gave you in the last episode, like think about what your intentions are and start it now. It sounds crazy, but people are working so much further ahead just because I feel like that's what the economy is like sort of forcing us to do. But like get ahead of it and just think about like what are some things that I can put on the calendar that I can very easily follow through with.
And I think something that you're really good that you're good with and about, and you've mentioned it in the previous 2 episodes, are like these non-negotiables for you. So you have like these kind of rules for yourself about how you're going to interact with it. Like the whole time you're talking
rules
about
sound more strict. Well, non-negotiable sounds more fun.
But like those are very intentionally designed from like what motivates you like internally, what moves the business forward. And so I think like I meant to say this in the earlier episodes, like I think those are really, really powerful because number one, you're holding yourself to that like standard. Number two, when you do the thing you say you're going to do, you begin to trust yourself. And number three, if they're intentionally designed, they're going to produce results. The ROI is going to come back to you. You don't know like what exactly it's going to look like, but like you said, it's proven over and over again to come back to you. So like, I think that's a really interesting perspective on moving into 2025 is like, what are those non-negotiables you're going to have for yourself in the new year? And can you start them right now? Because you can work to build out that habit so that when 2025 hits, maybe you like double it, or there's something else that happens because you've already established that habit and that trust with yourself.
Yeah, I've never had anyone actually call it out that way, but that really is like how my brain works. It's like, okay, like what's the goal this quarter? Then you break it down. What's the goal this month? Then you break it down. What's the goal this week? And then even today, it's like, what's the goal today? Like we are actually in the middle of a launch while we're recording this, but my goal today is honestly not that. It's like, let's plan these podcast episodes for October, and then let's think about what's coming in November, in December. And I've actually started to plan January. I have some ideas, right? Like it's not like set in stone. And I think sometimes people are like, oh, that's amazing. And then other people like totally shut down and like, I can't do that. So I think it's just important to think about kind of what Allison said, like what are your non-negotiables in terms of making sure that you end the year the way that you want to? And then what are your non-negotiables for just thinking about 2025? Like, what's the thing that you want to do? It doesn't have to be this like big, scary goal yet. It could just be like, I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to think about it a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that just the fact that you're like asking yourself that question, your mind wants to find solutions, right? So your mind will start to work towards what does that actually look like? And it will start to help you figure out like, oh, this is what I want it to look like, or this is what I want it to feel like. And you'll be able to figure out that path because you've made that decision and because you want to find the answer.
Yeah. Do you want to give everyone their homework for this episode?
Oh, I do. Okay. So what we want you to do is ask yourself, like get out of the now and ask yourself, what is the goal for 2025? If you want to achieve something different, you actually probably have to do something different to achieve that different goal. So what is it? What's the thing that you think? And I know like this may change. It's cool. It's fine. But like, if you could guess, what would be the work that needs to go into getting your 2025 goal accomplished? Again, you can move it around, but give yourself something to work within so that you can start to make that movement.
Yeah.
Share it with us.
I would say my favorite piece of advice when doing this is I like to go to like a bougie coffee shop or like a fancy hotel. And then like I bring like my planner, my notebook, and I'm like, don't talk, nobody's talking to me for 2 hours. And just like take in, right? Like take in the scenery, take in like the vibe, whatever is going on, and do this homework. And I can't wait for you guys to share what you come up with.